Let me talk.
Okay.
All right, so the news has been broken.
Which news?
The news.
The news.
The news. I love you. You're such a dork. The news has been broken. And you guys know what that means. It means we need to renovate again.
Yeah, because our bus is definitely not baby friendly. It's not child friendly. It's just Diane and Sam friendly at the moment. So it needs a bit of retouching to make it a bit homelier for the new bub that's on the way.
Everything's always at 80% with us. The bus is currently at 80%, but it's 80% going in a particular direction, and now we're having to change direction because we need to make sure we've got room for a bassinet, and then we need to be able to evolve into a crib, and then, you know, we need to be able to do bunks, so, or whatever we decide to do wherever we are down the line. Most of what we'd planned did account for this, so it's not too much of a pivot.
Yeah.
It just means that, yeah, we're going to start doing that now.
Yeah, so a lot of the time we've shown you guys the living space, the study, the kitchen, the bathroom as well. So those are all rooms in the house that we have finished or just have like a couple of elements left, like cupboard doors and things like that. So those are some of the jobs, but way less important. Most of our focus is actually going to be on the back of the bus, and I'm going to create like a 1 episode or 2 to 3 episode special of renovating the back of the bus to prepare for not only the space to be finished up, but also to be ready for the baby. So some of the tasks, I guess, that are on our list of things to do. I'm sure you may have noticed from video or two that we don't actually have ply on the back walls. So that's a huge step. There's also another really big thing that we're yet to do.
Yeah, that massive fridge can't stay there because Di's getting bigger and bigger by the day.
I'm going to get so big that there is just no way that I'll be fitting through that hallway comfortably.
Yeah, and that was a situation of convenience because it's money to go buy. Like, we've got a perfectly good fridge, and we did buy that fridge when we started homesteading and we love it.
Well, actually, it's crazy. We bought that fridge because it was half the size of the fridge we had beforehand.
Yeah.
And we had accounted for the fact that we would one day be in a small space, but I don't think we knew we were going to be on a bus. So it is heaps smaller than the original double door fridge that we had, but still way too big for the space, and just doesn't fit. Like right now we have it facing the bedroom, which creates light in the middle of the night when Sam's getting himself like some soup prepared.
It was a mistake that I'd made. So when I designed the space, I designed it for this fridge, but I didn't account for the fact that the doors have to open to 90 degrees so that we can pull the drawers out.
Yeah.
It just didn't occur to me. So the fridge fit and it was all working great, but then as soon as you open the freezer,
couldn't get
the
to
drawers
the doors.
can't get out.
Yeah, which wasn't ideal.
Which meant we had to turn it into the bedroom to make it functional, but then that's not, like, then as you were saying, like, if I'm up at night and I'm a night shift worker, then I'm going into the bedroom to open a fridge.
Yeah, so that'll be a really exciting project. We're planning on downgrading the fridge to a smaller one. We're investigating what fridge we would actually like to go with because we're a couple of people that really like to freeze things. So we'll often make up big batches of meals like curries, bolognese, soups, and freeze those so that when we're feeling tired at the end of the evening or when we just need a break, we can defrost a meal that is completely fresh and be able to eat that. So we make use of our freezer a lot. And not only that, but we stockpile like whole animals and like whole chooks and, lots of meat.
It definitely aligns with our philosophy with food because also when we are on a productive homestead, we're like
preserving,
but also if we get a bunch of something come in, we cook it so that it gets preserved into meals and then we put them in the freezer. That way we don't have more wastage, or with certain things like tomatoes that you can't we can tomatoes, so
but I mean, canning and preserving in that way is difficult because we're on a bus and it moves, and having delicate glass isn't ideal either.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're trying to figure out how we can swap the space representation. So right now we have little freezer space and a lot of fridge space, but we're finding that we're not using all the fridge space. And when we're traveling, it's way more room for things to move around and fall over and break.
Yeah, we've had a couple of jars break, and it's always the jalapenos.
Yeah.
They're like the best thing, and like the juice goes everywhere, and there's glass in the food, so like it's useless.
I love Asian food, guys, so I often have chili oil in there, and we've had a couple of those break, and so chili oil is not fun to have to clean up.
No, so that is going to be a major project. Another major project is right now we have our clothes stored in like cube storage, which is chunky, which takes up a lot of room in the back of the bus. And every time we're driving, because that's not permanent, it just falls down, all the clothes go everywhere, and then like my job every time is just to pile them back up. Ideally, I would love to have hanging storage in some way. Because that space has a lot of use in different ways, and it's also the space we want to put the bassinet and maybe like a changing table or just the baby things. So being able to take more off the floor and create a little bit more airiness and space there would be good. And also just having things hang up, it's easier to see what you have. So when we lived in Endeavour Hills, in the suburbs of Melbourne, we had hanging storage, and I loved it. I think we had way too many clothes back then, but now that we have less, I think there's just enough room for what we'll need. We can always add more if we need.
Yeah, and that also leans much more, like you were saying, airiness. You don't want heaps of things on the floor because buses do have condensation issues.
Yeah.
Do have lots of windows, and we're constantly fluctuating with heat and cold. So like getting all that stuff off the floor, making it so the dogs can move between like around the place is just way better. We're not going to get mold issues as well.
Yeah. Another big project, doors. Our bus is going to go from one single room from front to back to a space that is a lot more functional with doors.
Yep. Yeah, guys, that's a project that I'm going to have to wrap my head around because we're not working with 90 degrees. I mean, the bathroom is 90 degrees, so I do have a plan for that. So that should be pretty straightforward, that one. But the hallway door, I've got to make it sliding, and I can't hang it from rails because the roof's curved. So I'm going to have to figure out how. I'm going to have to be creative on that one. So that'll be an interesting project to look out for.
So we'll see just how far Sam's mental capacity and his positivity and the work that he's been doing on his brain and just like his coping mechanisms goes, because we're coming right back to the heart of the build and all the challenges involved with that. So wish us luck, because it's definitely not going to be easy. Those are the big main projects that are happening in the back, but then we have like lots of like little tiny finishing up things, like I said, like cupboard doors. We've got grouting, painting, and just bits and pieces here and there that we're going to need to do, as well as maintenance.
Hydraulics on the bed too, so we can lift the bed
Oh,
up.
gas struts.
Yeah.
So I'm still very keen to have those delicate glass jars to
Stored
preserve
away.
into.
Yeah.
And having them easily accessible under the bed, or even just getting all the junk that's in the living room and like cluttering the space, and be able to store it easily away where I can actually lift the bed up and get to it. So
I also
that'll be fun.
When I built the floor in, I actually have put a hinge on a section of the floor that lifts up, that accesses straight.
Secret doors.
Yeah, a little secret door that goes straight into the engine bay where there's a cavity. And my plan was to put have a stainless steel tub made up in there, so that we've got extra storage, like
Could
kind
use
of
like a
stuff.
sink,
Huh?
like a stainless steel sink, instead of making the tub up. Anyways, there's lots of projects
I hear
still
what you're saying.
ahead, some more important than others. And so this next month will be house sitting for our friends. And our goal is to get into that bus and try to do as much as we can. Hopefully have it all finished off. Of course, we're always more ambitious than the actual goal is.
I'm back to work too, so it is a bit
Back to
tricky.
work, back to band practice and all the things. And we're looking after a homestead again. And you guys know just how much work and time that takes. So we're excited for the challenge. We're up for the task. And it's just going to transform that back area so much that I think it'll be worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be worth it.
Those are the plans. That is going to be the next month or so of content. And yeah, we hope you enjoy some more bus building because we seem to be loving doing it.
Back on the tools.